On a beautiful 63-degree day in Southern California, we're at Qualcomm Stadium, San Diego, getting ready for the red-hot Cincinnati Bengals and the San Diego Chargers. And today's game being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. Marv Albert with Rich Gannon for the Bengals. 3 straight wins after losing 4 in a row. And very much in the playoff picture. San Diego has dropped 3 straight, 6 of their last 7. You talk to Charger players and they say, hey, we're approaching this like it's a playoff game. Brandon Tate back deep for the Bengals, 4-year man from North Carolina, and he will receive the kick from Nick Novak in his 5th year out of Maryland. San Diego just 4-7 for the season. Cincinnati with a record of 6-5. Tate hesitated and then muffed it, in trouble as he brings out to the 9-yard line. That was not pretty.
Well, really, just he has it now. He just loses control of it right there. He could stay in the end zone. The indecision is really what gets Brandon Tate in this situation, and now they start backed up.
All right, here is Andy Dalton, who has been on fire the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, a big reason that they've won 3 in a row is with the play of Andy Dalton. He's 97 straight throws without an interception, 9 touchdowns and no interceptions over the last 3 games.
The running back is Ben Jarvis. Green Ellis coming off a strong game a week ago. Pass to the right flat. A.J. Green coming up with his 68th catch of the season. And that is good for 5. Quentin Jammer coming up from left corner to make the stop. It'll be a 2nd and 5. Referee is Walt Coleman, making sure that spot is right on. Dalton making changes at the line. And again, it is Green Ellis. He is stopped by the strong safety, Corey Lynch. First down picked up as we look at the Bengals up front. Andrew Whitworth at left tackle, one of the best in the NFL. Backs and receivers, the rookie Marvin Jones back from injury, making his first start of the season. Jones, a 5th-round draft pick out of Cal, and he can fly. It's a pretty good combination between Jones and Green.
A lot of speed on the field at one time.
1st and 10 for Cincinnati. Play fake by Dalton. Lots of protection, and then completes to Green Ellis, who is close to the marker. Picked up 9. San Diego's defense, not bad. It's ranked 10th overall. Cam Thomas starting at nose tackle. Takeo Spikes, who spent his first 5 years with the Bengals in his 15th NFL season. One-time member of Cincinnati, and Green Ellis is stopped at the line. And in that secondary, it's free safety Eric Weddle, who made it to the Pro Bowl last season, and back from a concussion suffered last week against the Ravens, and it was sustained on that Ray Rice play on a 4th and 28.
Yeah, big blindside block that he didn't see, and they've had a hard time getting guys to be able to practice this week. They've been so banged up on defense.
I should say, to be precise, a 4th and 29, and Rice able to come through off that short pass. Green Ellis has a first down.
Well, what you've seen from Cincinnati over the last couple weeks, steady improvement in the running game, especially the last 2 weeks. They've rushed for 410 yards in the last 2 games, the best 2-game total in 10 years. And Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, first back-to-back 100-yard games in his 5-year career. They've been able to run the ball because they've had leads in the last 3 games.
And during the 3-game win streak, Andy Dalton has not thrown an interception. Andrew Hawkins, who's making his return in motion. Dalton on the roll. Dalton fires it and throws it away.
Pass is incomplete.
I'm really not surprised to see the Bengals come out with a no huddle. You think about the problem San Diego has had with injuries. They're without a number of starters on defense. They lost strong safety Atari Bigby to injury reserve last week. Donald Butler's not going to play today. Jared Johnson's out. Abrea Franklin, a nose tackle. They need some young players to step up on defense.
Good pressure on that last play from the outside linebacker, Sean Phillips. 2nd down and 10. Again, changes being made by the Bengals.
Double head, double head, double head.
Dalton fires one and is caught for a 1st down. That's a pickup of 11 by Ryan Whalen, backup wide receiver, 2nd-year man out of Stanford, a top target for Andrew Luck at Stanford.
And we talked about how they've been able to run the football. That's really helped them even in the passing game. But boy, Andy Dalton really gets the ball out quick when he's in the gun.
1st down at the 45-yard line. Green Ellis tries the right side and goes for 2. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, in his 4 years at New England, a solid short yardage red zone back. And you mentioned how well he has done the last 2 weeks with the 2 straight 100-yard rushing games. In fact, the first back-to-back 100-yard games of his career.
Yeah, and he's a very good inside runner. Not a lot of big runs, although we saw a couple last week against Oakland, but he's very decisive and he doesn't put the ball on the ground.
2nd down and 8. This is the 9th play of a drive that began in adventurous fashion back at the 9. Again, Dalton chased and has to throw it away. A.J. Green in the area, and the pressure from Kendall Reyes from the left defensive end.
Yeah, you got to have a plan for how you're going to handle A.J. Green. I mean, both of these corners are going to need some help. It's just a nice job there, not letting him get downfield, keeping him in front of you. Veteran Quentin Jammer.
Cincinnati from its 47-yard line with a 3rd down and 8. Brian Leonard, a running back, now split wide to the right at the bottom of your screen. Dalton once again facing the rush, but completes for the 1st down and more. Welcome back Andrew Hawkins, who had been playing so well before going down, missed a couple of games with an injured knee.
And this is where Dalton has gotten so much better. His mobility, he's been able to make some big throws outside the pocket. And it's nice, as you mentioned, Marv, getting Andrew Hawkins back, particularly in light of the fact that they lose Mohamed Sanu earlier this week in practice with a foot injury.
That's a 17-yard pass play. Marcus Gilchrist coming on the blitz. Dalton able to avoid it and found Hawkins. 1st down, Cincinnati. Straight ahead move by Leonard. Brian Leonard, 6-year man from Rutgers, picked up about a yard. We'll step away for a moment. Time for an update. Let's go to JB and Boomer.
The poised rookie Andrew Luck. Marvin Rich, 4 seconds left, 4th and 10 on the Lions, 14. Andrew Luck finds Donnie Avery, 14-yard TD pass. They go on to win 35-33. One cool customer, Andrew Luck. Marv and Rich.
All right, JB, as you take a look at that AFC playoff picture, we'll get back to that in a moment. Here is Dalton scrambling. Dalton shovels, it is incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Jermaine Gresham. Well, at the moment, this is the story. Houston, with the win over Tennessee, has clinched a playoff spot, as has New England by beating Miami. Cincinnati at 6-5 is, as you're well aware, very much alive as they vie for a wild card berth, along with Pittsburgh and Indianapolis, with several other teams still alive. And the Chargers feel they're still alive. I think they are stretching it a bit.
Yeah, they really are. They've got to get on a roll here. And you talk about losing 6 of your last 7. They just have not been able to finish late in games.
3rd down and 9 for Dalton. Backpedals, in trouble again, and again has to throw away. That's the 3rd time on this opening possession that Dalton, who's been flushed out, has had to throw it to the sideline.
Well, they've done a great job making him get off the spot. You see there, he's not been able to set his feet. Good rush from Melvin Ingram. We saw it the play before from DeMario Williams. Particularly making him move to his left. That's the key. You got a right-handed quarterback. If you can make Andy Dalton move to his left, you've got a chance.
Well, this would be a 52-yard field goal attempt by Mike Nugent, but they're going for it. We welcome those of you who are joining us. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon from San Diego. And again, Dalton, facing pressure, has to throw it away, and a flag is down. Chargers doing an excellent job with that front three and providing problems
prior
for
to the
Dalton.
pass, holding number 29, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Sharice Wright, backup defensive back, on the call. It is a first down for Cincinnati.
Well, a critical mistake there. And you got a young player. You've got some changes in the secondary with Atari Bigby out. A guy like Sharice Wright was on the field, some valuable snaps last week, but essentially a special teams player. You can just see the frustration there from defensive coordinator John Pagano.
So here are the Bengals first down at the San Diego 30-yard line. 14th play of this opening drive, and all kinds of movement, and once again flags come flying.
Neutral zone infraction, number 98, defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's called on Antoine Barnes, coming off a very strong game. A question mark for today, Rich, with a hamstring, and at first the thought was he'd be inactive, and Norv Turner said no, he's going to go.
Yeah, he missed practice on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, just to give you an idea of how banged up they are on defense.
Norv Turner in his 6th season as head coach of the Chargers, very much on the hot seat, along with San Diego general manager A.J. Smith. First and 5 at the 25. And Jarvis Green Ellis, for just a moment, had a big hole, but he's able to lunge forward to pick up the first down as he goes for 5. We welcome those of you who have just joined us. We're gathering audiences from various parts of the country. A lot of your friends out there now, Rich.
Absolutely.
No score between the Bengals and the Chargers. Cincinnati has had it from the opening kickoff, and they now have a first down at the 20. Green Ellis, the lone back. Fake of an end around, and Green Ellis picked up a yard on the play. Since once again the Chargers have not sold out, today's telecast not being seen in Southern California. This is a San Diego team that is just 4-7. You see the empty seats. 3 straight losses. They've dropped 6 of the last 7. They started at 4-1 entering their bye week last year as one of the best teams in the league, and then they lost 6 straight. And they finished up at 8-8. Second down and 9. Here comes Dalton with the throw to the end zone. Touchdown! The tight end, Jermaine Gresham, with lots of room, kind of sidestepped his way in as he made the catch inside the 2. A 19-yard pass play. The Bengals with a 6-0 lead.
Well, what happens is everybody's so focused on A.J. Green going to the post that you forget about Jermaine Gresham going to the corner. Really nice design here by the Cincinnati offense, but A.J. Green's going to take not only the corner, but the safety as well, and Jammer's late falling off on Jermaine Gresham.
5th touchdown catch of the season by Gresham. And now Mike Nugent for the point after. Make it 7-0 Bengals. And for Cincinnati, their longest drive of the year. 16 plays, 91 yards, and they had the football for nearly 7.5 minutes. As I mentioned, longest drive of the season for the Bengals, and it began with the bobble in the end zone by Brandon Tate, who was able to finally bring it out to the 9-yard line. And Andy Dalton doing it by finding a number of his receivers.
And how about the decision by Marvin Lewis to go for it on 4th and 9 and get the PI call? That was big for the Bengals.
Short kick handled by Carr. Trying to cut wide and haul down shy of the 20 by Cedric Bierman. So San Diego to the offense for the first time, and we'll get a look at Phillip Rivers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. HP, introducing the new family of HP NVPCs. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Well, back here in beautiful San Diego, you got to look at Phillip Rivers. While he's completed over 60% of his passes, he needs to cut down on the turnovers. Nobody's got more of them over the last 2 seasons than Phillip Rivers with 43. It's been a problem for the Chargers.
14 interceptions this year. He's been sacked 32 times. Rivers swings it out. He has Ryan Matthews, dumped by Manny Lawson, right at the marker. Here is San Diego's offense. Nick Hardwick, one of the NFL's highly regarded centers, but this an offensive line that has certainly had its problems. Backs and receivers, Denario Alexander has emerged since coming to the Chargers in mid-October after spending 2 years with the Rams. Rich, do you get the idea that Phillip Rivers does not exactly trust his offensive line?
No, I think you're right, Mark. I think he's lost confidence in some of the players around him, including the offensive line.
Matthews is stuffed. It was a 2nd and 1. And let's see where they spot it. It is a first down. Matthews able to lean forward. He picked up the first down. Cincinnati defensively out of the 4-3 with Geno Atkins having another Pro Bowl season with 9 sacks. The linebacking core, how about Vontaze Burfict, who has come on strong in his rookie year, 13 tackles last week against Oakland. In the secondary, the veteran Chris Crocker has taken over as the starter at strong safety, his 5th straight start. Bengals have been doing quite a bit of shuffling in their secondary. They're looking at the right tackle, Jeremy Clary, 6-year man out of Kansas State, being held back to the sideline. The NFL Play 60 initiative, the Chargers held the regional round of the punt, pass, and kick competition before the game. The participants also led the Chargers out of the tunnel for the team introductions. We saw Jeremy Clary being helped off just a moment ago. He was shaken up, replaced by Kevin Haslam, the 3-year man out of Rutgers. As it is, this is an offensive line that has had big troubles. And now they go to Haslam for the starter Clary. Matthews in the backfield. 1st and 10 for San Diego. Rivers guns it. It is caught by Malcolm Floyd, a pickup of 6. Talking with Cincinnati defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer yesterday, he said last week he told his guys against Oakland he wanted to hit Carson Palmer 15 times, and he said we made it 17. Against Eli Manning in a Cincinnati win over the Giants a couple of weeks back, he said let's get 12 hits, and we got it. He said for today, the number against Phillip Rivers is 17.
Yeah, you notice he keeps upping that number every week, and his guys up front keep delivering.
Here's Rivers on a screen. McClain has the first down. The fullback, LaRon McClain, goes for 5. He's hauled out by Michael Johnson.
Well, I expect to see a lot of screens today. North Turner's always liked them, but even more so now to slow down the pass rush and help out this offensive line. We've been talking about the pass protection. It hasn't been good enough at times. Phillip Rivers has already been sacked 32 times in 11 games.
And that is 2nd in the NFL. Only Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay has been sacked more frequently, 37 in all. Just under 5 minutes left in this first quarter. The Bengals with a 7-0 lead on the Chargers. Deep drop by Rivers, goes to the near side, and it's caught for another first down. Malcolm Floyd on a 15-yard play. Covered by the right corner, Leon Hall. Leon Hall, a local product, grew up in the San Diego area. So first down at the Bengals 44. Had some Microphone problems with Rich, and I thought the points you made were excellent.
That's when my mic was down.
On play action, again, Rivers completes. This time the tight end, Antonio Gates, close to the marker, stopped by the combination of Terrence Newman and Manny Lawson. You will never get those moments back.
No, you'll
Think of
never.
it like that. It's
never.
depressing.
Never. But I love the idea that Norv Turner's moving Phillip Rivers a little bit. I think it's important. You know, you look at Mike Zimmer there. They want to get after Phillip Rivers. That's the plan. But Norv's going to have to mix in some screens and move Phillip Rivers around a little bit, change the launch point so that this Cincinnati defensive line can't tee off on him.
Second down and 1. Rivers, good start, 5 for 5, 44 yards. And off to Matthews, finds the opening and has a first down inside the 30. Vontez Burfict, the weak side linebacker, making the ankle tackle.
Well, if they could ever get Ryan Matthews going again, that would really help. You look at Cincinnati, have not allowed an opening drive touchdown in the last 11 games. They've started fast under Mike Zimmer, but you know, San Diego's got to be able to answer a score with a score. If you let Cincinnati go 16 plays, 91 yards, Phillip Rivers has got to find a way to get some points on the board as well.
And coming up, 8th play of the drive. First down at the Cincinnati 29. 3 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Matthews running hard. How about Norv Turner, the head coach of San Diego, saying Matthews just doesn't have the proper vision, that he'd like to see him pick up holes quicker.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a disappointment this season after going to the Pro Bowl in his second season a year ago. He's missed some opportunities. And Norv talked about the vision issues. He's got to make the most of his carries. He's not getting 25 touches a game. Every time he gets the rock, he's got to get some production.
2nd and 7 coming up. Ronnie Brown, the one-time Miami Dolphin, now in the backfield coming on for Matthews. Here's Rivers stepping up. He throws and is caught inside the 10-yard line. 1st and goal for the Chargers. Antonio Gates with his 2nd catch of the quarter. That's good for 18.
Well, he's still very productive, especially in this part of the field. And as Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator of Cincinnati, told us last night, he has a sense of when he's going to get the ball. And when he has those plays, you really see it in his legs and his quickness down the field. He is a mismatch still for linebackers and safeties.
Now Floyd flanks wide to the right. Brown remains in the backfield for this 1st and goal at the 7. Fake to Brown, lots of time. Rivers, and that ball was deflected. Looked like Carlos Dunlap got a piece of it, or is it called a fumble? May have been slapped out of his hands. Antonio Gates able to recover for San Diego.
Well, you're going to look at a couple things on this play. Antonio Gates trying to block, and that's not the best deal right there. It's actually his guy that gets around the edge. If you look at Carlos Dunlap, now he's got it. Now you look at his arm. Yeah, that ball comes out before he starts throwing it. Now, Antonio Gates is very fortunate here because initially he thought it was a dead ball. You can't assume that. You don't hear a whistle, you got to play through the ball.
So it's called a fumble, loss of 9, but the Chargers able to cover up.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Garmin. This holiday season, give a Garmin, the most trusted name in GPS navigation. And by Walmart. We're so confident in our low prices, we guarantee them.
Have a sports fan on your gift list? Well, CBSSports.com shop has officially licensed NFL gear and NCAA gear from over 500 schools and 3-day shipping on every order at shop.cbssports.com. 11th play of the drive coming up here for San Diego. 2nd and goal. Flip pass to Matthews. Worked his way inside the 10-yard line. Met by Pecco. Picked up 5 on that previous play, which was ruled a fumble by Rivers. It was a forced fumble by Carlos Dunlap, who gets credit for a sack, and then it was covered up by Antonio Gates.
Yeah, Antonio Gates took a while to get going there a little bit, but you just can't assume that it's an incomplete pass. You got to assume that it's a fumble. Let the officials sort it out after the fact.
This first quarter running down Ronnie Brown in the backfield for the 3rd and goal. Bengals with a 7-0 lead. Rivers again with time, able to complete. He has Brown, and Brown is stopped. Picked up 8. And that brings us to the end of the quarter. You can hear the booing because the field goal unit is coming on the field for this 4th and 2. We'll be back to San Diego after these messages. Back in San Diego, an outstanding drive engineered by Phillip Rivers, 8 for 8, 77 yards, but it's 4th and goal at the 2. You heard the booing as Nick Novak came on, and he will attempt a 20-yard field goal, 11 of 12 for the season. And Novak able to pound it through. So they put up 3 on the board, and we'll step away. Bengals 7, Chargers 3. Back in San Diego, Marv Albert, Rich Gannon, a 7-3 lead for the Chargers. And Nick Novak getting set to kick it away to Brandon Taduit. A bit of an adventure on that opening kickoff. And this a short kick, plays it at the 6. Angling to the right, brings out across the 20-yard line. Eric Weddle making the stop, 16-yard return. As you see, Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle for the Bengals, ejected last week, getting involved in a fight with several Raiders. He called them cowards. For Lamar Houston throwing Andy Dalton to the ground after a play had been whistled dead. And he said, I've got 2 contracts in my life, one with my wife because we're married, and 2, I've got a contract to protect Andy Dalton. I'll do the best of those to the best of my ability. Whitworth saying that Oakland players were clawing at his face under a big pileup, trying to gouge him in the eye, and then Andrew ejected. The hit with a fine. And Jarvis Green Ellis is the running back. Bengals start out from their 23-yard line, and he's bottled up, stopped at the line. It was the 2nd time that Whitworth had been ejected from a game. And talking with Andrew last night, he said his wife said to him after the game, he said, first time you're ejected, you're a hero. The 2nd time, you're a jerk. Although, Rich, as you know, she said something stronger than the word jerk that we cannot repeat.
Yeah, she was proud of her husband for sticking up for the quarterback until she found out it cost him $26,500.
It is picked off by Demario Williams. Williams to the 5. Williams, touchdown. Demario Williams, starting for the injured Donald Butler. Signed as a free agent from Kansas City prior to the start of the season. In his 9th year out of Nebraska, returns the intercept, 31 yards, and the Chargers take the lead.
Yeah, and he's trying to throw the slant route to A.J. Green. Andy Dalton never feels Demario Williams, his first interception in 106 pass attempts. Well, big play for the San Diego defense. This defense has played well at times this year. You look at them last week, they held the Baltimore Ravens to just a field goal for the first 55 minutes of that game. John Pagano has done an outstanding job with this unit.
And as we mentioned at the start of the telecast, overall they are ranked 10th defensively. Well, all scoring plays are reviewed upstairs, and the question is, with Williams working that far side, did he get across the goal line? So we'll take a break. Here comes the referee, Walt Coleman, after taking a closer look upstairs.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
Which means it is a touchdown.
Yeah, really nice play here. You're going to see at the end, Zeitler comes in and makes the tackle on Demario Williams, but is able to extend the ball and get it over the goal line. It's actually his left hand that's going to hit the pylon.
Demario Williams with his first pick of the season. And here's Novak for the extra point. The Chargers have taken a 10-7 lead on the Bengals.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Take control of your personal economy. Acura Advance. And by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K.
Moment ago, the interception by inside linebacker Demario Williams, which was reviewed and ruled a touchdown to give San Diego a 10-7 lead. Brandon Tate awaits the kick from Nick Novak. This one is handled in the end zone, and Tate will come out. Cross the 10, 15, and down he goes. A 25-yard return. This only the second interception thrown by Dalton that has been returned for a touchdown. The last time back in Week 9 against Denver, Champ Bailey intercepting Andy Dalton, who had thrown at the time 97 consecutive passes without a pick. Currently, the third longest streak in the NFL behind Tom Brady and Joe Flacco.
And that's not typically a throw you see him have intercepted. A little slant route to A.J. Green. He just locked in on A.J. Green and never looked out in front of the throw and felt the linebacker, Demario Williams.
Cincinnati starting from their 17-yard line. Dalton swings it. Hawkins. Andrew Hawkins, who has been an exciting player for Cincinnati, stopped by the left corner, Quentin Jammer. Hawkins back after missing a couple of games with a knee injury. Spent some time in the Canadian Football League. In fact, played for Grey Cup championship teams in Montreal. Had a number of odd jobs in between. He did have a shot with the Cleveland Browns.
He's very quick. He's fast. You know, he's a hard guy to get your hands on. Not very big, just 5'7" tall. They love him on those quick screens.
Picked up 6, second down and 4. Green Ellis breaks free as he did last week, breaks a tackle. And that is bumped out of bounds. When Jarvis Green Ellis, chased by Eric Weddle, was finally taken out, but he goes for 41 yards. A missed tackle by the strong safety. Corey Lynch got this run going.
Yeah, you look at the safety right here. He tries to tackle him up high. That's a mistake with a big back like Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. We talked about a guy that hasn't had a lot of big runs. He's had a couple of them the last 2 weeks.
Cincinnati 1st and 10 at the San Diego 35. Now Cedric Pierman has come on as the feature back. Dalton on the play fake. Diving catch is made inside the 20 by A.J. Green, and that's good for 16.
He has such great body control for a taller receiver. You're going to see him just going to run the little in route. He has to dive for this one. But once the ball is in the air, I don't know there's a better receiver in the game than A.J. Green. He's great. And even when he's covered, Andy Dalton's going to give him a chance to make a play on the ball down the field.
First down at the 19. Pierman remains in the backfield. Green with his second catch of the first half. Pierman looking for a hole. Dancing around, but it's closed up by Corey Lynch, the strong safety who is in the lineup for Tyree Bigby. He's placed on injured reserve. You know, you look at the Chargers coming out of that very tough loss to the Ravens in overtime last week. They were hard hit by injuries. They counted up 9 or 10 guys who were injured.
Yeah, they had to adjust the practice schedule this week because they said they had so many guys that were out. They had a walkthrough on Wednesday instead of a normal practice.
2nd and 8, Dalton with time. And Dalton throws, end zone. Penalty marker is down. A.J. Green looking for the jump ball. The 6'4" Green
Pass
working
interference,
against
number
Jammer.
18, offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
And it's called pass interference on Green as you can see the pushing and shoving between Jammer and Green.
Well, just watch at the end. Once the ball is thrown, he's going to push Jammer right in the back right there. And that's why they call it. You have to have a plan for A.J. Green. We just talked about it. Even when he's covered, you look at Jammer there, Andy Dalton's still going to throw it. And you've got to be able to play the ball well when it's in the air against a taller receiver like A.J. Green.
The rookie from Cal, Marvin Jones, flank to the right, Green left. They go with 4 wideouts. 2nd and 18. Dalton's pass caught inside the 15 by Green. So Andy Dalton goes right back to A.J. Green. It's a 14-yard hookup short of a first down.
Just watch how he plucks this ball into the air. He always catches the ball so well away from his body. When we talk about his size at 6'5", he's got those long arms, but he's got great hand-eye coordination. You don't see this guy drop a lot of balls.
Bengals have scored a touchdown in 12 of the last 14 possessions in the red zone. Brian Leonard checks into the backfield. 3rd and 3. Dalton's pass is caught. And the tight end, Jermaine Gresham, is pushed out of bounds by Corey Lynch. That's good for 7, and a flag is down.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. 38. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
It's called on San Diego's Marcus Gilchrist.
Yeah, you just watch him right at the bottom of your screen. He's covering Hawkins. He's going to fall right there. And he's got him wide open in the back of the end zone. And, hey, I've missed him, too, when you lock in on that big Pro Bowl tight end. It's not a bad choice either in Jermaine Gresham. That was a big conversion. They got backed up because of the offensive pass interference penalty. They were still able to convert.
So the Bengals decline the penalty. They have a 1st and goal at the Charger 5-yard line. San Diego with a 10-7 lead. Then Jarvis Green-Ellis returns to the backfield. The play fake. Dalton's throw. He had a wide open A.J. Green.
Well, you got to make that throw if you're Andy Dalton. I mean, you don't get him more open than that. You see, he's just going to start inside like he's running a slant route. He puts his foot in the ground. You see Jammer. He's got his eyes in the backfield. That ball just comes out high and hot. Sometimes they're so wide open, it just seems like an easy throw. You'll wind up steering it rather than just cutting it loose and throwing it.
Now Green at the top of your screen, flank wide to the right. 2nd down and goal at the 5. Inside handoff. This is Green-Ellis.
The handoff to Jarvis Green-Ellis.
Picked up 4.
Watch out by Tequila Spice.
Well, he has to cut it back because they don't have the safety, Eric Weddle block. Weddle's been spending a lot of time down around the line of scrimmage. Nice tackle here by Lynch and Takeo Spikes.
Brings up a 3rd and goal just outside the 1. You can hear the San Diego portion of this crowd. A lot of Bengal fans on hand. Play fake by Dalton. Takes a look. Now being chased and throws. Pass intended for A.J. Green. Corey Lynch on the coverage of the incomplete pass. It'll be a 4th and goal, and the field goal unit will come on.
Well, this took a while to develop. A.J. Green had to work all the way across. Actually, Jammer gets tied up, and a nice job by Lynch once again coming off and helping on A.J. Green. You feel like you wasted an opportunity down there. You got a 3rd and 1. You come away with a field goal.
19-yard attempt for Mike Nugent, 17 of 21 on the season. Angle to the left. The game is tied at 10. Andy Dalton a bit upset about that miss with A.J. Green wide open in the end zone. Although Andy Dalton upset with himself, Cincinnati puts 3 on the board to tie the game. 10 plays, 82 yards, and they had possession for 4 minutes, 31 seconds.
Yeah, they've already had the 29 snaps here in the first half of this game. They put some great drives together. I think he's mad at himself for the interception and mad at missing the open A.J. Green. when he had him down there in the red zone.
That is Chris Carr, back for the kickoff, 8-year man out of Boise State. Deep kick, and he'll stay right there. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. A look at the AFC playoff picture, and at the moment, is the story. Houston with a victory over Tennessee. They've clinched a playoff spot, as has New England by beating Miami earlier. Cincinnati at 6-5, very much in it, as they are challenging for a wild card berth along with Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. How about the Colts with that touchdown pass from Andrew Luck to Donnie Avery, last play of the game? And one of the incredible stories of this season's NFL continues in Indianapolis.
Really a special story there. And you think about John Pagano's brother, Chuck Pagano, the head coach in Indianapolis, sick, and these players have really rallied around him.
Alexander picks up the first down as Phillip Rivers continues to look sharp in this first half. 16 yards on that play.
Yeah, Denario Alexander is an interesting guy. You know, Norv Turner's son is on the coaching staff at Carolina. He was down there along with offensive coordinator Rob Jasinski, who was an assistant to Norv in San Diego. Similar offense. He came in here 4 or 5 weeks ago. He's helped out right away. Another bigger receiver at 6'5", 217 pounds for Phillip Rivers.
Look at the numbers on Rivers. 9 for 9. 93 yards. 6 minutes gone by in this second quarter. The game tied at 10. Short pass to McClain, who had nowhere to go, surrounded. Lost a yard. Tomorrow, to succeed in business, the girls will need some special help, especially when they have uninvited guests. A new Two Broke Girls. That's tomorrow only CBS.
Well, the one thing you have to account for if you're Cincinnati defensively are the running backs in the passing game. I mean, Phillip Rivers, if it's not there down the field, he's going to try and find the running back. Charger running backs have 96 receptions coming to today's game, the most in the NFL.
And Rich, that offensive line is hung in very well for San Diego here in the first half. Al Rivers facing some pressure on the pass off intended for Matthews.
Well, he's going to have to be able to step up, Phillip Rivers. You got to look at Ray Malaluga there. Well, you look at the wide receiver receptions. There are not a lot of them right there. 31st in terms of wide receivers reception, 28th in terms of yards. And look at the running backs. And the running backs, if it's not there down the field, Phillip Rivers comes right back inside and checks it down to the backs. Couple reasons why. He doesn't quite trust the protection, and he shouldn't. He's already been sacked 32 times this season.
A lot of unhappiness here in San Diego with the departure of Vincent Jackson, which has obviously changed the configuration in terms of the wide receivers. Rivers steps up and completes up at midfield, and Alexander took a hard hit and was able to hang on. Denario Alexander, who joined the Chargers in mid-October after he was dropped by St. Louis.
And if you give Phillip Rivers time in the pocket, he can really hurt you. And that's what they've been talking about, Cincinnati, all week. Getting hits on Phillip Rivers, not letting him get in a rhythm and getting comfortable early.
Well, the free safety, Reggie Nelson, got in a pretty good hit on Denario Alexander. First down, Chargers. Matthews to the outside. Flag comes in. Hard driving move by Matthews, who was bumped out by Nelson.
Holding, number 81, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
However, they'll bring it back as Randy McMichael, the backup tight end, is called on the penalty.
Yeah, he's going to cut off the backside right here, and you're going to see he doesn't anticipate this run being wound all the way back, and right at the end there, you're just going to see him grab. Clearly grabs the shirt of, looks like Domata Pecco, or actually Michael Johnson. Got to keep your hands in. He was expecting that run to go front side, not backside.
Rivers now looking at a 1st and 20. Ronnie Brown, the running back for San Diego. Rivers floats one. Everyone covered, threw it away. Well, you vote, they play. Send your favorite players to the 2013 Pro Bowl. in Hawaii. Vote online or with your mobile device at NFL.com/Pro Bowl or text Pro Bowl to my NFL. Rich, I know you were honored to go to the Pro Bowl on 4 occasions.
Yeah, it is a great honor.
Any work that you put in, or you just kind of
relax
your way through it?
A lot of play. Look at that selection. Look at who does Norv trust more right now? Is it Phillip Rivers or Ryan Matthews? 14 passes and just 3 runs.
Handoff to Matthews on a delay. Gets to the 45. He picked up 3. Awaluga makes the stop.
We'll talk about why he doesn't trust him so much. Look at that. He almost has as many fumbles as touchdowns in 3 seasons. 8 games missed. He's been very inconsistent. We talked about the vision problems. You know, he's a guy that's not very patient. You know, he doesn't want to stay front side. He wants to try and use his speed and bounce runs to the edge.
First-round pick out of Fresno State, averaging about 4 yards a carry, plus 30-plus receptions. Now Roddy Brown has come back. 3rd and 17. And the pass is batted down. Carlos Dunlap, who's had a big first half, got a piece of it, had the sack earlier.
Well, you've got some really tall defensive ends in Cincinnati. Carlos Dunlap, 6'6". You look at Michael Johnson on the other side, 6'7". Do a good job getting their hands up and being very disruptive in the rush lanes.
Punting group is on. Mike Cypress with his first punt of the day, and Brandon Tate is back behind his 10. Cypress, one of the better punters in the NFL, hangs it high and a fair catch. Call for Tate. Able to hang on. A 43-yard punt, a tough one to handle as he was looking right up at the sun. Andy Dalton makes his return when we come back.
CBS is sponsored by Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars and find the best deal on Autotrader.com.
Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. They will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights and a lot going on around the NFL. That's coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
A good look at their first 3 possessions. Really good on the first and third one. The second one, Andy Dalton, an interception to Mario Williams. He'd love to have back.
Off that beautiful punt by Cypress, Cincinnati starts. And it's 11. Screen is thrown. A.J. Green. Run out of bounds by Quentin Jammer. Picked up 5. A.J. Green last season as a rookie made it to the Pro Bowl, had 65 receptions. He surpassed that this season. First rookie receiver to make the Pro Bowl since Anquan Bolden. That was back in 2003. Second down and 5. Dalton goes the same route. This time it's Green Ellis, and he is stopped. Met by the free safety, Pro Bowler Eric Weddle.
Well, Eric Weddle's a tough guy. He's also a smart guy. He's wearing the helmet headset so he can communicate with Chuck Pagano. It's normally worn by Donald Butler. So you'll see him making the calls in the huddle.
Just under 5 minutes remaining.
A good look at John Pagano.
Green Ellis again able to break through, this time tripped up, but has a first down. Jammer got a piece of him. And Jarvis Green Ellis running so well as he goes for another 9 yards.
Yeah, it's been a really good day for him. They're doing a nice job getting him the ball, not just in the running game, but the passing game as well. We've seen a lot more of the bigger runs from Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, something that we haven't seen a lot of in the first 4 years of his career.
In particular, Richard, New England, he was strictly short yardage and outstanding in goal line situations. Green Ellis this time is stopped. Stopped by Melvin Ingram, a first-round draft pick out of South Carolina.
You know, not a lot of flashy runs typically from Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Marv, as you were just saying, but he just keeps chipping away at it. You know, he seems to keep his feet moving and at the end of the play, he always seems to be falling forward. And they've had the luxury of having some big leads now here the last 3 weeks, and so he's been able to get more opportunities and more carries late in the game.
11 carries, 77 yards for Green Ellis. That pass caught at the marker by Green. And let's see where they spot it. Looks like picked up the first down.
Yeah, I think he's taken his game to another level. And you think about A.J. Green, that's saying something. You consider he went to the Pro Bowl as a rookie last year. Just seeing, I think he's been better at the top of his routes, coming back to the quarterback, finishing down the stem. Much better out of his breaks. He's become a much more polished route runner in year 2.
Fifth catch, 50 yards for Green. That's Hawkins coming around, taking the flip, throws it back the other way. Here's Golden on a flea flicker, dumps it, and it's caught. A beautiful play for a first down.
Pass complete to
Marvin Jones, the rookie from Cal, 5th-round draft pick, on the catch, a 16-yard pass play.
Well, some trickery here. Actually, they do a nice job, San Diego. They're in a position, just can't keep up with Marvin Jones. He has some speed. You see, Hawkins throws it back to Andy Dalton. He's trying to get the ball downfield to A.J. Green, but he does a nice job coming back underneath to the wide open Marvin Jones.
Bengals go to the gadget play to pick up the first down. Now Pierman in the backfield for Cincinnati. Takes to the outside, cuts back. Short pickup for Cedric Pierman. Stopped by Marcus Gilchrist. Picked up 3.
And Pierman's a nice little changeup back. When they want to give Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis a breather, they bring in the fresh Cedric Pierman, and he can be dangerous too. He's got probably a little bit more quickness than Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. You get a look at offensive coordinator Jay Gruden.
Bengals with a host of outstanding young players. They've done a terrific job with personnel. Here's Dalton swinging it. Green just wanted to get the ball in the hands of A.J. Green, who brings to the 39 a pickup of 4, stopped by Kendall Reyes, and that brings us to the 2-minute warning. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Tied at 10, but you can see in the statistical department it's been all Cincinnati, and Andy Dalton missing on a couple of passes where he would have had touchdowns, and now play is blown dead.
Be a false start.
Full start, number 77, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Well, that's Andrew Whitworth called on the false start. Now, will his wife be on Twitter regarding that play?
She'll be upset. She's already upset about that $26,500 fine. It's the minimum fine for a first offense for fighting under the league's fines schedule for 2012. He said he's going to pay it all. Number of players are willing to chip in. He said, nope, I'll take it. It's on me. He's a terrific leader, though.
Great respect for Andrew Whitworth in terms of his teammates. Dalton with time, and then Chase, and gets the pass off, but it's dropped by Brian Leonard. So Dalton is now 14 of 22, 141 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Melvin Ingram, the rookie from South Carolina, putting pressure on Dalton.
Yeah, San Diego's done a nice job. They've been able to get some pressure on Dalton, trying to create some negative plays. And Andy Dalton's done a nice job getting rid of the football, not taking the sack.
Kevin Huber has had a solid season back at his 40. On to punt. Chris Carr awaits at the 10. Good hang time. And Carr calls for the fair catch inside the 15. So Phillip Rivers, who got off to the good start, hitting on his first 9 passes, will come back as San Diego takes over. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, and the only man who ever escaped from a prison considered as the worst in the world, followed by new episodes of The Amazing Race and The Good Wife, and then The Mentalist, only CBS. Chargers back to the offense. Phillip Rivers, 11 of 14, 110 yards. And a correction, he actually started out hitting on his first 10 passes for 92 yards.
I really thought it was important to get him off to a good start after getting sacked 6 times last week against the Ravens.
Play action. Rivers taking a long look, now being chased, and tosses it aside. And a flag has been thrown.
Well, another key, I thought, when Phillip Rivers, when the protection breaks down around him, the ability to throw the ball away and move on to the next down. I mean, that's going to be important today against a Cincinnati defensive line that's very good at getting upfield and getting pressure on the quarterback.
And it was Carlos Dunlap again in pursuit of Rivers.
Illegal formation on the offense. Went from illegal to legal. That penalty is declined. Second down.
I think he meant to say it went from legal to illegal.
Yes.
I didn't see two people moving at the same time.
And I know since the Tuck game, which you were
part
involved with, anything you can do to correct Walt.
I try to help my guy out.
Yeah.
Well, Walt's been at it a long time. I don't think he's ever done a Raiders game since then, though.
I think you are correct. Yes. Second down and 10. And Rivers just tried to flip it to Matthews and threw it over his head.
It's like a little sandwich missing the green from about 50 yards. Yeah. And you're trying to get it over the defensive end, the rush. I think he wanted him out there a little bit quicker, but it seemed like it took a while, and he's not happy with the back. That's what happens when you miss a lot of practice time. Ryan Matthews has missed a lot of practice time. Sometimes that affects the timing and the rhythm of the passing game.
It's third and 10 at the 14. The pressure on Rivers, a flag is down as he's able to complete with the 3-year man from Fresno State, Shei Argira-Tutu. Picked up 8.
Somebody might have been lined up in the neutral zone.
Offside, number 93, defense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
It's called on Michael Johnson, the right defensive end.
Yeah, you're going to see him right here. I think he just kind of falls in. Oh, right there. A little hard count by Phillip Rivers. Nice job. You got to mix in that cadence and slow up this pass rush. The Chargers offensive line has to win the battle up front. You've got to be able to neutralize Cincinnati's front four. You can't let them become disruptive and control that line of scrimmage.
Rivers won for his last 6 after the good start of hitting on his first 10. Bengals have 3 timeouts left. Chargers with 2. Short range pop. Caught by Alexander. A first down and much more. Chris Crocker, the strong safety, able to chase him down. It's a 28-yard pass play.
Yeah, and you're playing all that man-to-man coverage, and all it takes is a little crosser. You're going to see he gets picked. And he's got no one on him now. He's got a lot of open field in front of him.
A minute remaining. First half, game tied at 10. Out of the gun. Rivers down the sideline. It is incomplete. May have been trying to throw it away. Alexander was well covered. Hey, coming up on the Verizon halftime report, isn't there a jacket-only policy?
Yeah, we got some guys missing up there.
I don't know. Even for rehearsal, where's Dan Marino?
Yeah, we got a guy missing right there. He's getting some lunch, I think.
I'm troubled by what I'm seeing here.
Yeah,
but the Verizon halftime report will eventually have JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher, all the latest NFL scores and highlights on the Verizon halftime. Second down play, 48 seconds to go in the first half. Rivers getting it away, but short of the first down. It's caught by the tight end, Antonio Gates. Good for 7, and a timeout is called by the Chargers, so they'll have 1 left. Back in a moment. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon from San Diego, 42 seconds to go. In the first half, the Bengals and Chargers are tied at 10. Chargers with 1 timeout remaining. They have a 3rd and 3.
Well, they bring these linebackers up inside, and what it does, it creates one-on-one matchups along that offensive line. Makes it very difficult to sort it all out. Communication absolutely critical.
You hear that hesitation in the call by Rivers. I don't know if he's trying to draw the Bengals
85 offense.
Well, it's called on Antonio Gates.
Rivers trying to use that snap count to slow up that rush. Norv saying that Cincinnati moved first.
Looks like Tyrone Green was shaken up, replaced by Rex Hadnot at left guard for San Diego.
I think they moved together. I think Phillip Rivers did such a good job. He got Cincinnati to move, and Antonio Gates as well.
Kind of a stutter step call by Rivers.
False start, number 85 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
So they just reconfirmed the initial announcement.
Just wanted to reiterate, to make sure that you and I got it up here in the booth.
See, that's a subtle shot.
Subtle.
At the referee will call. You're killing him. Let it go, Rich.
I'm over it. No hard feelings. We've
I don't know.
Worked games before. We're buddies.
Right. Third down. And 8 from midfield. And again, flags come flying. Might have been Hadnot.
Yeah, what happens sometimes is you're using that snap count so much that you've got your guys up front and they get jumpy.
False start, number 79, offense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Well, it's the left tackle Mike Harris who is called.
Yeah, you got a rookie in here. Just take a look at his hand. He actually moves that hand right there, just a little bit. Boy, I tell you, that wasn't much.
5th penalty called on San Diego for 30 yards. These are two clubs that have not been penalized that much, particularly the Bengals, who are 5th fewest.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job. And sometimes the offensive linemen move a little bit.
All right, here's Rivers stepping up, and he throws deep. It is caught. Malcolm Floyd on the reception and then bumped out of bounds, which stops the clock. 36 seconds to play. It's a 24-yard pass play. Reggie Nelson, the free safety, on the coverage.
Really nice job moving and sliding around by Phillip Rivers and finding his big receiver, Malcolm Floyd, down the field. Really nice movement in the pocket by Phillip Rivers. He's had to slide and shuffle and reset himself a bunch today because of the upfield pressure from Cincinnati.
And the Chargers now in field goal range with 36 seconds remaining on the half. They have one timeout left. Here they come. Rivers able to complete. Has a first down with Alexander. Crocker on the stop. That's a 13-yard pass and run. And they get to the line in a hurry. He will spike it right here. So that stops the clock with 17 seconds left.
Yeah, you look at Alexander after the play. You got to understand the situation in the game. Really nice catch here. Now he's just trying to get out of bounds. He can't get out of bounds. Now he gets back up in the field of play. And you watch him at the end here. I think he's trying to call a timeout. Got to understand the situation in the game. Let the quarterback handle that. Now you give yourself, by clocking here, now you give yourself a couple shots at the end zone.
4th catch for Alexander for 74 yards. And a first down for the Chargers. Rivers looking end zone. Rivers directing traffic and runs it. Rivers steps out inside the 10 with 9 seconds remaining. So there's time for one more shot, and then if it does not work, the field goal unit will come on.
And this is what I'm really impressed with Phillip Rivers today, his mobility, moving around. And I would encourage him to use his legs more to pick up some first downs, to keep the chains moving.
First and goal at the 9. Game tied at 10. Meanwhile, Nick Novak getting ready. We have a short field goal attempt. Rivers throws. Timeout. Ronnie Brown is stopped short with 1 second remaining. Time nearly expired, so they have 1 second left as the Chargers called for time off that 8-yard pickup. And now Novak will come out of the field.
Well, they got close, but they were good. They were smart about getting that timeout called right away. You see, everyone understood the situation in the game. That was a good drive by Phillip Rivers and the Chargers.
Novak hit a 20-yard field goal earlier. He's 12 for 13 for the season. The holder is the punter, Mike Cypress. Long snapper is Kyle Nelson.
Boy, Rivers has been impressive. 16 of 23, 189 yards. And most of the incompletions have been throwaways. Nice job moving in and out of the pocket. Now he's going to go in the locker room early and get.
He's so confident about Nick Novak hitting from 19 yards away. And Rivers getting the jump and heading back to the San Diego locker room. And this one is right through. So the Chargers have taken the lead at halftime over the Bengals. It's a 13-10 advantage for San Diego. That's the end of the first half. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You are watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl. You are listening to a Pepsi NFL anthem. Download this song and other NFL-inspired anthems at PepsiAnthems.com. It is on to the second half in San Diego with the Chargers in front of the Bengals by the score of 13-10. Marv Albert along with Rich Gannon. And this is a huge game for Cincinnati in terms of their playoff hopes. Yet they've gone against a Phillip Rivers who has been very impressive here today and having a tough time in the first half.
Yeah, really, both the offenses are playing well. You look at Andy Dalton, he got off to a good start. Would love to have that interception back at DeMario Williams. That kind of got San Diego back in this game. But Phillip Rivers put together a really nice drive right before the half. And San Diego's playing really well on both sides of the ball.
Let's take a look at some of the first half statistics. And both quarterbacks come up strong. Rivers 16 of 23, 189 yards. Dalton 14 of 22, 141 yards.
Yeah, big offensive days by both teams, Cincinnati and San Diego. You look at that, they're on pace for well over 400 yards. You look at Phillip Rivers. They've not run the ball very much in the first half. I think just 5 runs, but Phillip Rivers accounted for one of them. But they've thrown it a bunch, and they've had a lot of success through the air.
You see the quarterback numbers. Chris Carr, 8-year man out of Boise State, one-time member of the Baltimore Ravens, back for the kick, comes up, and here he goes to the 15, 20. Accelerates across the 25-yard line, a 24-yard return. Dan Scudder on the tackle.
Well, Cincinnati got the ball rolling early in this game. A 16-play, 91-yard drive capped off with a touchdown to Jermaine Gresham. San Diego's able to come right back and get a field goal. The second possession, Dalton doesn't see DeMario Williams on a slant route. They return that for a touchdown to take the lead. Cincinnati's next possession, they get a chance to down in the red zone. Dalton misses a wide open A.J. Green on second and goal, third and goal. They come up a little bit short with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. A missed opportunity, have to settle for a field goal there. And right before the half, Phillip Rivers drives them all the way down to go up 13-10 with a field goal.
First and 10 from outside the 25, and Ryan Matthews is stopped at the line. San Diego at 4-7. They've lost 3 straight, 6 of their last 7 games. Last week here at home, the Chargers lost in a heartbreaker to the Ravens, 16-13 in overtime. They blew a 10-point lead midway through the fourth. Baltimore 10 points in the final 4 minutes, 19 seconds of regulation to tie the game. And that big play with just over 2 minutes left in regulation on a 4th and 29. Joe Flacco to Ray Rice, and he did the rest. That is caught by Gates. He is pounded out of bounds. Leon Hall, the right corner, makes the stop. Picked up 4 on the play. Here is that play. Ray Rice going for 30. Certainly some conversation about the spot, which led to the tying field goal, and the Ravens then won in overtime. What an effort here by Rice.
Yeah, great effort by a very good back, but very poorly played by the San Diego defense. It's a game of angles and tackling, and they didn't do either in that situation.
They're checking out Leon Hall, who was shaken up. There he is, 6-year man out of Michigan, grew up in the San Diego area. Guy who made it back from a torn Achilles that was suffered midway through last season. And Nate Clements will check back in. Here's our fact for the day. The first 4th and 29 plus converted without a penalty since back in 2001, and the Bills the last team to pull it off.
Yeah, that made Norv Turner sick. I mean, just to sit there and watch it, you think you got the right coverage called up and everyone in position, and you had just a couple guys taking some poor angles against a back like Ray Rice.
3rd and about 7.
You're going to 93, right?
Ronnie Brown is checked into the backfield. Rivers throwing deep on the right side, but he overthrows, intended for Gates. And that'll bring on the punting unit.
I think Phillip Rivers lets this thing go early. He's just trying to put a lot of air on it, trying to anticipate where Antonio Gates is going to come out of that break, but the protection just not good enough to hold up to give him the extra time he needed.
And now Adam Pac-Man Jones back for this punt for the first time. He's behind his 20. Second punt of the day for Mike Cypress. And another beauty by Cypress. And Pac-Man will return. Pac-Man accelerates, and that is tripped up. Nicely done by Adam Jones. Gets out near the 40, 55-yard punt, 24-yard return. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, it'll be Cincinnati ball. Bengals with excellent field position, awfully returned by Adam Pac-Man Jones. They start out from their 40-yard line. Good protection for Dalton. Now he's in trouble and throws one. He floated it. That was a bad decision and nearly intercepted by Melvin Ingram.
Well, you said bad decision. That might be putting it kindly. You look at Andy Dalton. He's getting flushed to his left. I mean, this is a dangerous throw to your left. I mean, that's intercepted. Nice play there by Hawkins, ripping it out. That was just too easy.
Sean Phillips getting into the face of Andy Dalton and very close to coming up with his 8th sack of the season. Second down and 10 from the 40-yard line. Green Ellis in the backfield. 2 minutes gone by in the third. Now Dalton right on target for a first down at the San Diego 45. He connects with A.J. Green for 16.
Well, Dalton does a nice job here. He throws this ball before A.J. Green's even looking, and they just jump the ball.
7 catches, 70 yards for Green. And here's Green Ellis. He thought he had a break with that hole on the right, but was taken down at the 35-yard line by Jammer, just short of the first down.
I mean, this ball is out of his hands before the receiver. It just turns around. It's right there. And great anticipation by Dalton, finding that hole between the linebacker and the safety.
Second and a yard, and Green Ellis able to work his way for a first down. Picks up 2. Boys, he run well. This is carried on now for 3 straight games. 13 carries, 88 yards for the former Patriot, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis.
And remember now, San Diego's got a lot of different bodies moving through there. They haven't played a lot of snaps because of all the injuries to Atari Bigby and Jarrett Johnson, Donald Butler, Brea Franklin. San Diego using Cincinnati using some no huddle, making it a little bit more difficult to make substitutions and also to communicate on that side of the ball.
Bengals first down at the San Diego 33. Dalton off the play fake. Once again in trouble, and now make sure that he throws it away with no Charger inside. Combination of Kendall Reyes and Corey Legit in pursuit of Dalton. Another look at the wild card picture. Incidentally, in Baltimore, the game that is going on simultaneously in the third quarter, Steelers and Ravens tied it at 13. Indianapolis with another miraculous finish. Last play of the game, Andrew Luck to Donnie Avery. And the Colts having an extraordinary season, 8-4. Cincinnati right in the thick of it at 6-5. That pass dropped. Thrown slightly behind Andrew Hawkins. That'll be a 3rd and 10 now for the Bengals.
Just trying to find ways to get the ball into the hands of Hawkins. Love those quick screens, particularly on the early downs.
Hawkins and Dalton able to complete a successful, well-executed flea flicker back in the second quarter. Now Brian Leonard in the backfield for Cincinnati. 3rd down and 10. This crowd getting into it. Dalton downfield, deflected and intercepted. Picked off by Lynch. Up to the 25. And down he goes across the 30-yard line. Corey Lynch, 5-year man out of Appalachian State with a 19-yard return. He's starting for Atari Bigby. Was able to take that deflection. It went off Marvin Jones, and they have it back.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, in theaters everywhere December 14th. And by LG Optimus G, the new quad-core powered smartphone.
By virtue of that interception by the strong safety, Corey Lynch. Chargers take over 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. They lead it 13-10. Play action. And the screen caught by Matthews, able to shed tacklers and gets right near the marker across the 40-yard line. A nice run after the catch, and he picked up the 1st down.
Yeah, you can't put this one on Andy Dalton. I mean, it goes right through the hands of Marvin Jones. I mean, that's what happens when you're talking about a rookie who hasn't practiced and played a lot the last month.
Marvin Jones making his first NFL start. He missed 5 games due to a knee injury. Did play briefly last week in the game against the Raiders. And as this game progresses, you get the feel the Chargers feeling more and more confident. Rivers threw it away. Pass intended for Denario Alexander, covered by Leon Hall. Coming into this game, Rich, there was so much talk about the lack of confidence that Rivers had in his offensive line, and we certainly could understand why, but there's been no signs of that to this point here today.
No, they've done a nice job. I mean, look, the group that they're going up against is one of the best pass rushing defensive lines in football, so they've done a nice job. I think some of the credit has to go to Norv Turner. They've done a nice job mixing in the screens. They've moved Phillip Rivers around, and Phillip Rivers, to his credit, hasn't held on to the football. He's getting it out quick, and when it's not there, he's willing to throw it away.
2nd down and 10. Rivers looks to step up, and he's taken down. Rivers sacked for the 2nd time, and this time it is Wallace Gilberry who comes up with his 4th sack of the day.
Well, just good pressure there. Just pushes it. You can see him pushing the left tackle, Mike Harris, right back into the quarterback. He's able to come off, and Phillip Rivers has been trying to step up inside, trust that protection, but he's been hit a lot. And you think about, you know, the impact that has, not even the sacks, but it's the hits, the knockdowns and the hurries that have an impact on his footwork, trusting the protection, and sitting in there and taking that extra hitch.
Ronnie Brown is back. 3rd down and 12 for San Diego. And the pass is dropped. Alexander not able to hang on. Took a hit from behind from Pac-Man Jones.
Well, you look at that, just six rushes, and I think 1 or 2 of them is Phillip Rivers, and 30 passes. I think that tells you how Norv Turner feels about their inability to run the football against this Cincinnati front 7.
So here is Mike Cyphers, who leads the NFL in gross average 50 yards a punt. Had a big game last week, punting 9 times. And he's been booming him here this afternoon. Tate takes it, goes sideline, makes a nice cut, and runs it out of bounds. 39-yard punt, 17-yard return. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Back in San Diego, Marv Albert, Rich Gannon, 9.5 remaining, 3rd quarter. Cincinnati back in possession. They have Green Ellis and the fullback Chris Presley lined up in the eye. Green Ellis looking to bounce it, could not. Met by Melvin Ingram, and it's a loss of 2. Let's check in for an update. JB and Boomer.
Boomer, Denver has an MVP candidate. Well, it's Von Miller, and the reason he is because Mitch Unrein, the defensive tackle, forces Josh Freeman into the interception. 28-10 Broncos over Bucks. Broncos win. They win the West. And on the offensive side, we know they have Peyton Manning, Marv, and Rich.
All right, guys, it is a 2nd and 12 for Dalton. And his pass deflected. It was loose. Scramble for the ball. Flag has been thrown, but it looked like it was a pass that was tipped. The one-time Bengal, Takeo Spikes, got a piece of it. Now the Chargers are claiming that it was a fumble.
Personal foul on the defense, number 51, hits the quarterback in the head. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, so much for the play. Spikes is called for the personal foul.
Well, as Dalton's getting ready to throw it, you see right there the hand cross the cheek of Andy Dalton. And they're going to call this every time. I mean, they're trying to protect these guys. And yeah, this should have been dead anyway. This one clearly hits the ground. You're going to see it right there. Now, the defensive linemen don't know that. I don't know if it's a fumble or not.
But the personal foul is the call that holds up. It's on Spikes, originally a first-round pick of the Bengals back in 1998. Played 5 seasons with the Bengals. San Diego, his 5th
That's amazing.
NFL team.
Yeah, it's amazing to think the guy's played 15 years in the league. Marvin, he's never played in a postseason game. 5 different teams, 215 games. Not for lack of effort. You look at that, 215 straight games, and in a way you feel for a guy like Spikes. He's such a tough guy, great leader, played in Cincinnati, Buffalo, Philly. He was close a couple times, but it just, for whatever reason, he's been on some teams that have kind of faltered down the stretch.
He's been with the wrong teams, as it turns out.
Well, he never really had a quarterback, and he came here and he had one in Phillip Rivers. He has one in Phillip Rivers, and yet this is a team that hasn't been very good late in games.
Personal foul on the defense, number 51, for hitting the quarterback in the head. First down.
So that is what the call is. The crowd here looking for a fumble. The arm did go forward, and then it was a scramble for the loose ball.
Yeah, it really wouldn't have mattered, though, with the personal foul either way. So
that nullifies any other part of the play. 1st and 10 at midfield. Nice pass from Dalton and good coverage. Green Ellis makes the catch, but Marcus Gilchrist is right there. Just a 2-yard pickup. Let's get back to our New York studios. JB and Boomer.
The ground game, Boomer. Well, it's typical for the Pittsburgh Steelers right here. Jonathan Dwyer bouncing off everybody else, going to the outside. Look at Charlie Batch getting a block down the field. 13-13 tie, Steelers-Ravens. Back to Marv Albert, Rich Gannon.
All right, JB, you see the AFC North standings. Baltimore coming in at 9-2. Pittsburgh 6-5. Same as the Bengals. Green Ellis running to his left as a penalty marker comes in. 3-yard pickup by Green Ellis.
Offside, 54, defense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Well, once again, it's on Melvin Ingram making his first start in terms of a base defense. 1st-round pick out of South Carolina.
yeah, I thought maybe he got back. You're going to see him move, and then you see he gets back. I thought he got back, but hey, for what it's worth. You look at this, the primary focus in the offseason was to improve the pass rush. That's why they went out and drafted Melvin Ingram and Kendall Reyes the first 2 rounds, and they haven't played a lot of snaps. Therefore, he's not got a lot of production, just 2.5 sacks between them coming into today's game.
2nd and 3 for Cincinnati. Now, Green Ellis, flank wide to the right, bottom of your screen. Here's the screen pass for the tight end, Grissom. He fumbles. Recovered by San Diego. Quentin Jammer on the recovery. Once again, the Bengals cough it up.
We're just talking about Takeo Spikes. What a big hit here. He's the one that jars this loose with a great hit on the Pro Bowl tight end, Jermaine Gresham.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Toyota Care, caring for you and your car. And by E-Trade.
Third turnover committed by Cincinnati, and it's San Diego back in possession.
Good. That's good. Sit.
They start out from their 39. Matthews, who has not been able to get going, this time picked up 4. Chargers with a 13-10 lead, 7 minutes, 20 seconds to play in the third quarter. Quentin Jammer, who came up with that fumble recovery a moment ago, 11-year man out of Texas. He has spent all 11 of his NFL seasons with the Chargers. Second down and 6. Rivers on the run. Has a first down. You said earlier you'd like to see Phillip Rivers run more frequently. He's had 2 good runs here this afternoon. Well, tonight there's only one man who ever escaped from a prison considered the worst in the world. And he tells a story to 60 Minutes. That's tonight, only CBS.
Marv, you're just talking about Phillip Rivers. And, you know, it may not always look pretty with this guy, but the thing he does is he competes every week. He always comes prepared. You can never question his toughness and his durability. He's never missed a start going back to since he took over in 2006.
How about Phillip Rivers being the leading rusher today for San Diego? Has a 1st and 10. Guns it to the near side, incomplete, intended for Matthews. Covered by Malaluga.
They have not been able to get the running game going. You mentioned that. It makes it even more difficult, I think, for Phillip Rivers in the passing game. I mean, they've not had a lot of success running the ball on the early downs. They've been essentially a one-dimensional offense. It's all been Phillip Rivers today in the passing game.
Cincinnati defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer telling us yesterday that it looks like Rivers doesn't trust his protection. It looks like he's seeing the rush more than he has in the past, but today it has been a different story to this point. The line has done a good job. Here's Rivers on a screen. McClain breaks tackles, tough to bring down, and picks up the first down. LaRon McClain, the fullback, goes 6'1", 260 pounds.
Yeah, he just slips out, and someone misses an assignment here in Cincinnati. I mean, he is so wide open. He's in the backfield. He doesn't protection. Malaluga keeps coming. Somebody's got to account for him. One of the linebackers, you see Vontez Burfict, he's late getting there.
So that's good for 12 and a first down. McClain signed as a free agent from Kansas City. Also spent 4 years with Baltimore. Rivers from the gun. Steps up. Gets the block, but has to throw it away. Everyone covered. Crowd reacts, but he had no one to throw to.
Well, coaching point there. Just run with it. You've done it a couple times today. I mean, what a great opportunity. He's doing a nice job stepping up. Go ahead and run it. Now right here, freeze it. I mean, this is an opportunity just to run right down the field. I mean, he's got enough speed to get away from that defensive lineman. Trust your speed sometime, Phillip Rivers. Trust your speed.
Little pep talk from afar from Rick.
Hey, that can really hurt a defense. That makes things a lot more difficult, obviously, for those linebackers and safeties when they have their backs turned in coverage.
Ronnie Brown out in the backfield. There's a flag. Rivers pass incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Antonio Gates. But a penalty marker.
Offside, number 90, defense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That is on backup lineman Pat Sims. Well, you can get coverage of every game while on the go this holiday season with NFL Mobile. Watch every touchdown from Sunday afternoon games with NFL Red Zone for $5 a month. Call ** NFL to download. San Diego at the Cincinnati 31-yard line. It's a 2nd down and 5. Coming up on 5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. 3-point lead for the Chargers. The angle pass is caught. Antonio Gates with yet another catch. Picked up 6 and a 1st down. Set to go to New York for an update. JB and Boomer.
Hey, Boomer. Hey, diddle.
Ray Rice up the middle. Last week it was 4th and 29 in San Diego. This week, 34 yards down the left sideline. They take the lead over the Steelers, 20-13.
Well, Marv, it may not have worked, but we gave it a shot. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon.
I thought myself, nice try. Rich was shaking his head. 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Matthews tried the middle, and he is bottled up, picked up 2 on the play. Remember, it was the fumble that set this drive up, the recovery by Quentin Jammer. Fumble by the tight end, Jermaine Gresham.
Yeah, big hit here by Spikes on Gresham, and then also Williams chimes in, and Quentin Jammer's there to scoop up the fumble. A bunch of turnovers, 3 already for the Cincinnati offense.
2nd down and 8 for the Chargers.
Set. Round 90. Round.
Rivers in trouble, and down he goes. That is a huge sack by Geno Atkins. Atkins and Pecco combining on that sack.
Well, the pressure just gets to him right away. He's been trying to step up inside, and now they finally get pressure from Geno Atkins inside, and Domata Pecco comes in for the cleanup shot. They are tough inside. You've got speed and power with Pecco and Atkins.
So Atkins for the season, 9.5 sacks. Sets it back to a 3rd and 16 at the Cincinnati 31. Looks like delay of game. Flag is thrown.
Delay of the game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
So this drive has been stalled by the sack, and now the delay of game penalty.
You can see Norv Turner, he calls the play to Charlie Whitehurst. Charlie Whitehurst calls the play into Phillip Rivers. And I always thought it would be easier for Norv Turner on the sidelines to call the play into Phillip Rivers. Be one less person in the process, but that's the way he likes to do it. If there's a mistake, he expects the guy next to him to clean it up.
Rivers takes a long look. Can't find anyone. And just puts it on the ground. Just threw it away. Phillip Rivers has been sacked 3 times thus far today, so 35 on the season in 12 games and counting. As we mentioned earlier, 2nd most in the NFL to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's on pace to be sacked 47 times. I think that has a lot to do with how he has played this year. He's not been able to really trust the protection around him.
And here is Nick Novak from long range. This will be from 54 out. His career long is 53. That was last year against Denver here in San Diego. And this one is no good. A 53-yard attempt by Novak. The ball back to Cincinnati. They're down by 3. A 54-yard field goal by Nick Novak coming very close. Looked like it hit the upright. Cincinnati takes over in good field possession from their 44-yard line. They're down by 3 with 2:36 remaining. 3rd quarter. Dalton taking the low snap, able to complete, but Green Ellis took a hit and was kept away by Melvin Ingram. Here's another look at that field goal attempt by Novak.
Yeah, he had enough leg, and So close, and yet it hits the right upright. Needed the hook a little bit more.
Only his second miss of the season, both long range. The other miss from 55, and as I mentioned, his career long 53. Second out of 9. Dalton getting good protection and completes, but short of the first down. Andrew Hawkins on the catch, goes for 7. It's been an extraordinary route to the NFL for Hawkins. Not drafted, played a couple of years in the Canadian League where he was part of back-to-back Grey Cup championships. Spent some time with the Rams in training camp with the Browns. Signed with Cincinnati last season, made the roster. Green Ellis is stopped in his tracks. Stopped by the combination of Jammer and Lynch.
Boy, really nice job by the San Diego defense. It's penetration inside. Look at the ball coming up into the middle there. They push the lineman right back into the backfield. You see Lynch, who's had a really nice game. He's the first one that gets his hands in there, and then you see Jammer there to clean it up. Ron Miggs is the secondary coach. Pretty fired up.
It's Chris Carr awaiting the punt. 3 and out for Cincinnati. Kevin Humer. Faircats indicated, but he knew it was flying over his head. Meanwhile, Bengals able to down it inside the 5-yard line. A beautiful punt by Huber. Goes 46 yards. Jeremy Miles was able to down it at the 4. Well, they face some of the worst criminals of all time, but tomorrow they'll take on a real stunner. Yes, a Victoria's Secret model. Don't miss a new Hawaii 5-0 tomorrow. Only CBS.
Well, both offenses played so well in the first half, and yet look at this in the second half. Neither has been good on the early downs, and of course third down's been a struggle as well for both Cincinnati and San Diego here in the second half.
Chargers taking over at their 4. Matthews and McClain are the running back. Matthews gets to the 5.
But it seems like every time Matthews gets the ball, his first step is to the outside, even on an inside run. He's not very patient, and we talked to we talked to Norv on Friday about it, and he said that one of the things is, like you mentioned earlier, is the vision. He's a guy that's not patient enough in the hole. He's a guy that wants to get on the edge of a defense right away.
Only 8 carries, 21 yards from Matthews in his 3rd season out of Fresno State. Now McClain is wide to the left. Matthews to the right. Empty backfield. Rivers completes. He has Gates at the 10 as this 3rd quarter comes to a close. That's a 5-yard pickup. Now Aluga on the stop. That's the end of the 3rd. Chargers try to hold on to this lead, up by 3. Back after this, and a word from your local station. Back in San Diego, Cincinnati jumping out early. Turnovers have really hurt the Bengals. They've committed 3 in all. If I were you, Rich, I'd make a change on that photo.
See, I'm wearing the CBS blaze. I don't know where you got that one. What is that? Is that something from home or what?
No, that's the summertime CBS blaze.
Summer. Okay.
I guess you did not get that.
I didn't get that memo.
Yeah. 3rd down and 4 at the 10-yard line as this 4th quarter gets underway. Ronnie Brown checking in for San Diego. The swing pass for Brown, and he is dumped, tripped up. Reggie Nelson, the free safety, right there to make the stop. And now San Diego will have to punt from deep in their own territory.
Really nice job by Reggie Nelson. He's going to come off in coverage, and he's right there to make the play on Brown. I mean, Brown doesn't have a chance. So as soon as he catches this, then Nelson right there, and of course followed up by Terrence Newman. Nice job there with not only the pressure, but with the coverage on the back end.
Mike Cypress with the punt. Adam Pac-Man Jones, who had a good return in his last attempt. Here he comes, checks it out, puts the speed on, down the sideline, cuts back, and is run out of bounds. Beautifully done again by Pac-Man. who says, "Don't call me Pac-Man." But it sounds better, Rich.
Yeah, that's going to come back. I think you got a clip on Manny Lawson. Going to block Jackie Battle
During
in
the
the back.
return, illegal block in the back, 99 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So 53-yard punt and a 28-yard return, and it is Manny Lawson on the penalty.
Yeah, just keep an eye right here. You're going to just right on the right side there. He's in position and right there. They're not going to miss that one. You can see the official right to the right there. He throws that flag. Well, Adam Jones has had a really nice year, not only in terms of the punt returns, but he's been really good. He's been clutch for them in their sub-package cover in the slot. But, boy, you give him space in the open field, and he can really hurt you.
Adam Jones had a 68-yard return 3 weeks ago. He's averaging better than 15 yards per punt. One of the Bengal players is shaken up. We'll be right back. As we were headed to commercial, Dre Kirkpatrick helped off the field, took a shot during the course of that punt return by Jones. Dre, the rookie from Alabama, first-round draft pick, who was hurt at the start of the year. This is Green Ellis. Gets across the 50, picks up 7. A minute gone by in the fourth quarter, and the Chargers with a 13-10 lead on the Bengals, who are now going with no huddle. Dalton throws deep down the right side. Intended for A.J. Green, who had several steps on Quentin Jammer.
And they really haven't thrown the ball deep down the field much in this game, and typically they call 2 or 3 of these a quarter. Andy Dalton's got to keep it on the field. He's got to give A.J. Green a chance to make a play on Quentin Jammer.
Green has made 7 catches for 70 yards, but we have not seen the long ball.
San Diego's done a nice job not letting that be a factor in this game. They've kept good tabs on A.J. Green.
3rd and 4. 4 wideouts for the Bengals. Dalton in trouble. And Dalton taken down. Corey Leggett, second-year player from Illinois, first-round draft pick of the Chargers a year ago, would not let go as Dalton tried to pull away, and now the punting unit comes on for Cincinnati. Chris Carr is back at his 10. Kevin Huber will boot it from the 36-yard line. Fair catch called for. Back across the 10-yard line. 13-10 Chargers. We'll be right back.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Farmers. Find a knowledgeable local farmers agent at farmers.com. We are insurance, we are farmers. Verizon. Share the holidays with the Share Everything plan. And by the all-new Ford Fusion. Go further.
Oh, that's a beautiful scene, Rich, out there earlier yesterday.
Out rowing.
Yeah. Chargers have lost 3 games when leading in the fourth quarter this season. That's the case last week in that tough loss to the Ravens. Matthews out to the 15-yard line. We have just under 13 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter, in a game that the Bengals need badly in terms of their playoff hopes.
Yeah, particularly in light of what happened earlier today. Indianapolis able to come from behind and beat Detroit. And of course, based on what happens with that Pittsburgh-Baltimore game, this is a critical game for the Cincinnati Bengals.
2nd down and 5. Chargers from their 15-yard line. Rivers with a leaping catch made as he threw far side. Pass intended for Floyd, but made that catch out of bounds.
Yeah, just this one leaves his hands kind of light. Even if Adam Jones wasn't there, I mean, there's no chance that one is going to get in. Just sometimes if you wait, you're late. That one took a while to develop. Late getting out of Phillip Rivers' hands.
Baltimore in front of Pittsburgh 20-13 with about 5 minutes.
You can see all the confusion. This makes it difficult. Excuse me, Marv. It's just they got to squeeze the protection, and then they don't always rush.
3rd and 5, and Rivers pass off the fingertips of Brown. So they will have to punt. Rivers now 22 of 37, 223 yards. He has been sacked 3 times.
Yeah, you see they squeeze those linebackers up in there between the guard and the center, and it makes it difficult not only to communicate, but you get all the one-on-ones. And they have not done a good job handling those double A-gap looks that Cincinnati shows a lot on 3rd down.
Marvin Lewis telling us every time Adam Pac-Man Jones receives kickoff or punt, everyone holds their breath, including Marvin, as Jones decided to let it go. And then it is covered up at the 45. It's a 40-yard punt by Cypress. And let's see what Andy Dalton can do. Cincinnati back to the offense. Richard has not been a good second half for the Bengals. The interception by Lynch. And then 3 and outs.
Yeah, not the way they wanted to start the second half. They've got to find a way to get something going here in this drive.
Cincinnati back in possession and Dalton able to complete. A.J. Green runs it out. He stepped out.
It's a good way to get it started, getting A.J. Green more involved. He's had some catches. He's had 8, but they've not allowed them to have the big one where he's been able to get by that secondary for a big chunk. The Eagles done a nice job keeping things in front of them. They've helped these cornerbacks with some rotation over the top. Some double coverage on A.J. Green.
Picked up 8 on that last throw. Green Ellis is stopped short of the first down. Gained a yard. It's been a strong game once again, though, for Ben Jarvis. Green Ellis, 17 carries, 92 yards. He's gunning for his 3rd consecutive 100-yard rushing game. 4 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter. Chargers with a 13-10 lead on the Bengals. Green Ellis and Presley line up in the backfield, line up in the eye. That is Green in motion. And Green Ellis, it appears, has the first down. He did pick it up.
When he gets hit in the hole, Corey Leggett comes off. He's able to fall forward like he normally does at the end of the runs and get this first down. See, no sooner does he get it, you see Corey Leggett there. He beats the left guard.
Now A.J. Green lines up to the left. There's Green, bottom of your screen. Once again, it is Green Ellis, breaks to the outside, able to bust it for the first down and more. Taken out of bounds. Just shy of the 25. Quentin Jammer was able to get to him. 18 more on the ground by a penalty.
Number 84, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That one is called on Jermaine Gresham.
Well, he's right there. He's right on the end of the line of scrimmage. He's blocking Ingram, and he's got that left hand in there kind of grabbing right there the jersey. As soon as they see that jersey, that's a good indication that there's some grabbing going on.
So it's coming back to midfield. This is a Cincinnati team that has won 3 straight after losing 4 in a row. 3 straight wins, the most impressive, that 31-13 pounding of the Giants, followed by easy wins at Kansas City and then back home last week against Oakland. Dalton fires a bullet to the tight end Gresham. Picks up 8. Gilchrist on the tackle. Ball is marked at the 42-yard line. 2nd down and 8. Brian Leonard now the backfield to the left of Andy Dalton. Dalton to the far side. Green able to pick up a first down. Some good footwork by Green. Demario Williams with the stop. 8 yards on the play and a first down for Cincinnati. Now set for an update. Here's JB and Boomer.
Something good for the 50-year-old Charlie Batch.
Well, Charlie Batch right here at 50 years old. Come on, JB. 7 yards to Heath Miller. What a play by Heath Miller right there. Game is tied 20-20.
Marv and Rich. 50 years old.
All right, guys, here is Dalton. Apparently he was short of the first down. They marked it just shy. And now the first down is picked up on the quarterback sneak.
You know, some quarterbacks are better suited for the quarterback sneak, and I think Andy Dalton can be one of them. He's a bigger guy, and some guys do a nice job understanding. They wedge in behind the right guard and the right tackle. You see both Zeitler and Smith come off, and Andy follows them right upfield. You see Andrew Whitworth. He comes in from behind. He adds a little push as well.
Dalton 22 of 35, 191 yards again to the ground, and again it is Green Ellis who continues to run well.
The nice thing about Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, is he just keeps churning and keeps pumping those legs, and he's a guy that can wear down a defense late in the game. Look at that, the first Bengal to rush for 100 yards in 3 straight games since Corey Dillon did it back in 1999. 105 rushing yards today for the law firm.
We're so accustomed to seeing Green Ellis pick up 2, pick up 3, but he has been able to break several these past couple of weeks. Here's Green Ellis again, and he does it once again as he breaks through, gets inside the 20. Brought down by Corey Lynch. 8 more for Green Ellis.
And I think Jay Gruden has stayed after it as a play caller. I mean, he's given him more opportunities late in games. He's making the guys miss. You see Eric Weddle, the free safety, he's right there in the hole. He can't get him down.
First down at the San Diego 20-yard line. Green Ellis gets the call. This time he's hit from behind, and it's a short pickup. Larry English comes up to make the stop. Only a yard on the gain. And Cincinnati on the move. A good-looking drive with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. They are trailing 13-10.
You're going to look at Jay Gruden there. He's got some good young talent. Almost 2/3 of their starters on offense have 3 years less experience. A lot of young players playing significant roles here for Cincinnati.
This is the 11th play of the drive. Dalton takes a long look, guns it. It is caught. Marvin Jones, the rookie out of Cal, stopped by Marcus Gilchrist. Only a 4-yard gain.
As you look at this drive chart, the 12th play of this drive, since both of these teams really have put together some long drives, some clock-eating drives that have kept the opposing offense and quarterback iced on the sidelines.
And that began in the first quarter when Cincinnati had a 7.5-minute drive. 4 wideouts on the field. Here's Dalton throwing. It is caught. Has the first down. Andrew Hawkins, who has made his return here today after missing the last 2 weeks because of that knee injury, has come back strong. Hawkins with his 4th catch for 40 yards. That one is good for 9.
Yeah, he does a really nice job. I mean, he's so quick in short area spaces. They just get him over the middle of the ball. He's able to go either direction, to his right or to his left, based on the coverage. He works back across the face of Antoine Cason.
He's listed at 5'7", 180 pounds. First and goal. 3 tight ends for the Bengals. Green Ellis. And he's taken down right at the flag. Green Ellis was stopped at the line, but there is that penalty marker.
Illegal formation on the offense. Number 74 was an eligible receiver and was covered up. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, Coleman referring to offensive lineman Dennis Rowland.
Yeah, what happens is Dennis Rowland, he's going to be the end man on the line of scrimmage. That's not his fault. It's A.J. Green's fault. He has to be off the ball. He winds up covering up the tight end, Dennis Rowland. That's a mistake on A.J. Green. It's called a mental error. And it comes at the wrong time down in the red zone.
Bengals have a first and goal at the 11. Inside handoff. Green Ellis. Back to the 5-yard line.
This is a part of the field where Cincinnati loves to throw that fade route to A.J. Green. We saw some of them to Mohamed Sanu, who's obviously out with the foot injury. But the reason I don't think you're seeing as many of them is San Diego in this part of the field has been playing some off coverage on the receivers. See how far off they've been? They're not coming up here and pressing.
14th play, second and goal. Dalton with the fake throw, then dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Andy Dalton off the pump, able to make his way across the goal line.
And really no indecision. I mean, as soon as he sees he doesn't have it, he pulls this thing down quick. And now it's just a race to the goal line. Really nice effort there by Andy Dalton extending the ball.
They are reviewing it upstairs because all scoring plays are reviewed. But it appeared that he was able to dive in. There was no contact with the ground.
I don't think anyone touched him before he did that.
And it is, in fact, a touchdown, and the Bengals have taken a 16-13 lead. Here is Mike Nugent for the extra point. It is good. Cincinnati with a late drive, 4:11 remaining in the fourth quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Charles Schwab. Let's talk about giving your portfolio a better chance to grow. Talk to Chuck. And by Subway Restaurants. This December is Customer Appreciation Month. Subway. Eat fresh.
Welcome back to San Diego, California. On an overcast 62-degree day. 14 plays, 55 yards, and they had it for 7 minutes and 42 seconds. Third time that the Bengals have had a drive that consisted of 10 or more plays. That's the way this game has moved along. Chris Carr on the return. Carr running hard, gets up near the 25 for the Chargers, 26-yard return.
You know, you think about this Chargers season, they're at 4-7. It's kind of been a tumultuous year for Norv Turner. But, you know, I think the real turning point was that Monday night loss to Denver. They're up 24-0 at the half. They allowed Denver to come back and score 30 second-half points. They had 6 turnovers, including 5 in the final 20 minutes. They were never the same after that. You think they've won just one game since Week 6, while Denver hasn't lost a game. And it was a really turning point that this team just never recovered from that loss to Denver on Monday night.
And both Norv and general manager A.J. Smith are certainly on the hot seat, as we touched on earlier, although they played well last week against the Ravens and lost in a very tough game. They played well here this afternoon, but the record speaks for itself. 4 up and 7 down. Cincinnati just took a timeout, so they'll have 2 remaining. San Diego has all 3. Look at that AFC playoff picture. Houston with the victory, clinching a playoff berth. Baltimore and Pittsburgh involved in a 20-20 game in the fourth quarter. Ravens 9-2, New England clinching a playoff spot. New England clinching, in fact, the Eastern Division. You see Indianapolis with the win earlier. What a spectacular win. Final play of the game, Andrew Luck to Donnie Avery to pull it out in Cincinnati. Pittsburgh, Indianapolis all involved in that wild card battle. Here's a dump-off pass that could not be handled. A bit low for Ryan Matthews.
And you look at when Philip Rivers misses some throws, a lot of times it's his footwork. You know, he's not setting his feet. He's fading away from throws. A lot of times he has to because everyone's around his legs. you look at this as, in terms of what's happened with him, and Norv Turner said it, this started happening 3 years ago. 17 different wide receivers, 13 different offensive linemen. It's taken a toll on him. We talked about it. I think he's lost some confidence, not only in the system, but in the players around him.
Second down and 10. Rivers in trouble. The ball knocked out of his hands, covered up by the Bengals. Looked like Carlos Dunlap, who has had a spectacular game. The fumble forced and then recovered by Dunlap.
Well, again, we've talked about protection. You see him, he's got two hands on the ball right here, but as he's getting ready to throw it, somebody gets it. Looks like Dunlap gets a hand on it. Another big turnover. Ball security in the pocket has been a problem for Phillip Rivers. 9 fumbles last year, 9 again this year. He's got to cut down on the negative plays. We talked about it. He's accounted for more turnovers than any other player in the league the last 2 seasons. 44 turnovers alone from Phillip Rivers, and 10 of them coming in the fourth quarter.
And Rich, for Carlos Dunlap, his second sack of the day, now has 4.5 for the season. Rivers has been sacked 4 more times. They will review this play.
Well, they've done it, all day long. He's had to move around. You talk about moving him off the spot, and he's not been able to really set his feet. Cincinnati has done a good job getting up the field, forcing him back up inside, and then, of course, you got to deal with those 2 monsters in Domata Peko and Geno Atkins. But the ends have really caused some problems here today for San Diego.
One of the best front 4s in the NFL. Dunlap at 6'6", Peko 6'3", Atkins only 6'1", but he's having another Pro Bowl season as he did last year. 9.5 sacks in all. And Michael Johnson at 6'7", 270 pounds.
And remember now, Clary went out in the first quarter, and Kevin Haslam has come in, and he has struggled a little bit. He gives up that sack there, or that knockdown, and then you look at Mike Harris on the other side, another rookie. So they're young and inexperienced at 2 of the most important positions all on that offensive line, right and left tackle.
That's Geno Atkins. You got a good look at Geno. One of 4 Bengals to make the Pro Bowl last season. Only his 3rd year out of the University of Georgia. And Phillip Rivers has now been sacked 36 times in 12 games.
Already a new club record for an interior lineman in terms of sacks with Geno Atkins. And he's only 6'1", but he's so quick, and he's got that exceptional strength. He gets under the bigger offensive line. He pushes them right back into the quarterback. And that whole group has played really, really well here today.
Well, they review that last play, and
after reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Fumble, first Cincinnati.
So it is Cincinnati ball on the fumble recovery. Incidentally, Cincinnati with 39 sacks with the 4 today. So they've taken the lead.
They've had 6 games with 4 or more sacks. That's incredible. And they come in bunches for this Cincinnati defensive line.
For the moment, they have moved past the Broncos. How about Dunlap? 3 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 sacks. 1st and 10, Cincinnati. Green Ellis. Short gain. Brandon Taylor, the rookie from LSU, makes the stop, perhaps a yard on the play. And some extracurricular activity with players now separated.
When you look at Cincinnati's remaining schedule, Dallas and Philadelphia, both with losing records. The problem's going to be those last 2 games at Pittsburgh and Baltimore. They haven't had a lot of success against the Steelers and the Ravens.
2nd down and 9. 3:15 left here in the 4th. Again, it is Green Ellis. Corey Lynch stopping Green Ellis. No gain on the play. Timeout is taken now by the Chargers.
You look at the results the last 2 seasons, the Bengals against the Ravens and, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they've got to get that turned around. You've got to be able to win in your division. You've got to be able to beat the bullies. And right now it's Baltimore and Pittsburgh, both coming off of back-to-back 12-4 seasons the last 2 seasons.
So Marvin Lewis looking at a 3rd and 10. And if Cincinnati has to settle for a field goal, it becomes a one-possession game, and the Chargers certainly with a shot to tie it up.
Absolutely, and plenty of time with 3:08 left. And that's what you don't want to do, is give Phillip Rivers another chance. I mean, they had great opportunity. They get the turnover. It'd be a shame if they had to come away with a field goal.
4 wideouts for the Bengals. 3rd and 10. Swing pass. Hawkins lost the ball, but he was out of bounds. Able to get to the 6. Sharice Wright makes the stop.
They do a nice job getting some blocks out in front. You see both receivers come off, Gresham and A.J. Green, and come up a little bit short there. Hawkins got to be careful here. He's carrying the ball in the wrong hand. That should be in the outside hand. This thing gets ripped out at the end by Wright.
Hawkins short 3 yards for the first down, and we have a field goal attempt. And Mike Nugent from 24 yards out, hit from 19 earlier. This one is from straight away with just under 3 left in the 4th. Nugent able to connect. It is now a 1-touchdown game. The Bengals 20, the Chargers 13, with much time left. 2 minutes, 47 seconds.
Yeah, and really with a guy like Phillip Rivers, you know they're in 4-down territory each sequence. So here's what sets up that field goal. The great play by Dunlap again. Phillip Rivers, eyes downfield, never feels the pressure off his right side. That was a big play by Dunlap.
Denver, with the victory over Tampa Bay, has clinched the AFC West with a record of 9-3. There's so many questions coming into the season about Peyton Manning. I guess he did pretty well.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance. He's certainly in consideration, I think, for an MVP award and probably Comeback Player of the Year award. You look at Baltimore, if they're able to win today, they'd win the AFC North, so you'd have 4 teams lock up divisional crowns if Baltimore's able to hold on against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, there is Chris Carr, 8-year man from Boise State, back for the kick. And it is a deep kick right on the back of the end zone. No return. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line with 2 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter.
Well, the second half defense for the Bengals has made some plays. You got a sack of Phillip Rivers. They've done a nice job stopping the run. Ryan Matthews hasn't really been able to get going. And of course, more pressure on Phillip Rivers. The big strip sack fumble by Dunlap that gave him that field goal there inside 3 minutes.
Chargers will start out from their 20-yard line. As Gates in motion, setting up in the slot. Rivers comes underneath. Ronnie Brown has the first down. He goes for 13. He's met by Michael Johnson.
Well, this is where Phillip Rivers is so good in a 2-minute drill. You always want to start in a 2-minute drill with a completion, but plenty of time. Got some timeouts left.
From the 33, Rivers incomplete. Intended for Gates, not able to hang on. He was covered by Malaluga.
You just got to keep reminding yourself if you're Phillip Rivers, you can't take a sack. Throwing the ball away, an incompletion won't hurt you on the early downs. This is fortunate. This one goes right up in the air. See right, one of those linebackers coming in there.
2nd and 10. Malcolm Floyd flanks wide to the left. Rivers now 23 of 40, 237 yards. Again he goes underneath. Ronnie Brown apparently scooped it up, but it's incomplete. He one-hopped it
And Phillip Rivers has missed a couple of these throws today. Again, he's throwing off balance. You talk about how the pressure has gotten to Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's not as firm in the pocket. You see him dropping his eyes at times. He's starting to feel the rush. He's missing some throws he normally would make. I think it gets back to not trusting the protection, and as a result, I think his mechanics have been compromised. I think you can see it in his lower body, his footwork, his body lean, his throwing motion. Very noticeable when you study Phillip Rivers on film.
3rd down and 10. Are we looking at 4-down territory?
Absolutely.
2:12 remaining. Chargers down by 7. Rivers throws a leaping catch made for the first down. Denario Alexander on the reception. That's good for 18. And the Chargers very much alive with 2 minutes remaining in the 4th. Back in San Diego, 2 minutes remaining. Bengals with a 20-13 lead on the Chargers. San Diego on the move. Now look at the AFC wildcard picture. The Steelers have defeated the Ravens 23-20. So Pittsburgh now 7-5, doing it without Ben Roethlisberger. So this a huge finish for the Cincinnati Bengals. Can they hold on as the pass is caught by Brown and a flag is thrown over at the far side? Ronnie Brown on the reception, picked up 8.
Boy, Ronnie Brown is really hurting him. I keep checking the ball down to Ronnie Brown. He's making some big yards.
Prior to the pass,
coverage.
holding, number 24, defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
It is called on Adam Pac-Man Jones. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. It's the Bengals and Chargers. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast, where it will be seen at its regularly scheduled time. 1:53 remaining, 4th quarter. And a 1st and 10 for Phillip Rivers and the Chargers inside the Cincinnati 45-yard line. Rivers able to sign on it and completes it to Alexander, who runs it out of bounds. Well, apparently he stayed inbounds. He tried to get out. Picked up 11. Another Charger first down. Now Aluga able to make the stop. 6 catches, 102 yards for Alexander. What a day he's had. Just under a minute and a half to play. The ball at the Cincinnati 33-yard line.
Boy, completion in the field of play here. You have to call a timeout.
Rivers takes a pop, but completes. And this time, Floyd able to get out of bounds to stop the clock. Picked up 16 with 1:11.
Boy, really nice anticipation here by Phillip Rivers. Finding Malcolm Floyd on the sidelines. Taking advantage of some of that off and soft coverage that they're seeing from the Cincinnati secondary.
San Diego with 2 timeouts remaining. First down at the Cincinnati 17. Phillip Rivers doing well on this drive, 4 for 6. Able to work it upfield from the 20 following that touchback on the kickoff. Rivers from the gun, steps up, looks end zone, throws. And it is thrown out of bounds. Malcolm Floyd, the intended receiver.
And he's working to his right. He's so late coming back. We've seen this a couple times today where he's trying to throw it away and at the same time give Malcolm Floyd a chance. He's just late with a couple throws.
San Diego Chargers losing 3 games when leading in the 4th quarter this season. A team that has dropped 3 straight overall, 6 of its last 7. They led 13-10 coming into this 4th quarter. 2nd and 10. Rivers throwing end zone. It is incomplete. Intended for Alexander. Played very physically by Hall. Leon Hall, the right corner, was all over Denario Alexander.
And the thing you know about Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati, in a critical situation, you've got to prepare for and anticipate pressure, and that's just what he did there on second down. He brought pressure. I wouldn't be surprised to see it again here on third down.
3rd and 10 at the Bengals 17-yard line. The Bengals 20, the Chargers 13. Cincinnati looking to go to a record of 7-5 in the chase for the wild card spot. Here's Rivers throwing, end zone. Incomplete, intended for Brown. And it comes down to a 4th down play with 55 seconds to go.
Well, now if you're Norv Turner, you're trying to figure out what this gentleman right here, Mike Zimmer, is going to do. And they're going to talk about it. I mean, you've got to prepare for pressure, but you've got to give Phillip Rivers a chance to throw one in the end zone. I expect pressure. I'd be surprised in this situation. We've been talking about it. This guy in a critical situation, he can't help himself. He wants to bring pressure. Problem is, if you call a play that's to block them up for pressure and they drop 7-8 in coverage, you've got nowhere to go with the football.
Well, you can see how critical these 55 seconds are for the Cincinnati Bengals. Pittsburgh has won. Earlier they beat the Baltimore Ravens, so they go to 7-5. Cincinnati at 6-5, looking to stay on the pace of the Steelers in terms of the wild card race. They lead the Chargers 20-13. San Diego now down to 1 timeout remaining.
They can still get a first down in this situation, and again, they have another timeout. They're not going to bring pressure. They're just going to bring 4 and drop 7 in coverage.
All right, Rivers throws end zone, and it is intercepted. It is picked off. Reggie Nelson, the free safety, made a terrific catch at a ball that was thrown very hard by Rivers.
Yeah, he was trying to fit that one into double coverage there, and he's trying to jam this one up the sidelines, trying to hold the safety, but Nelson takes a nice break on it. See, he's trying to get it in the back of the end zone to Malcolm Floyd. He's got Terrence Newman in coverage there too. 2-man coverage. That's a tough one to fit in, particularly in this part of the field.
Reggie Nelson, the 6-year man out of Florida, coming up with the pick. 11 turnovers in fourth quarters and overtimes for Phil Rivers. And now the Cincinnati Bengals can just run it out.
And that's really been the story. I mean, the turnovers and at critical times for Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. You just don't give yourself a chance to win when you make those kind of mistakes in critical situations.
Down to 30 seconds remaining. So unless something incredible takes place right here, the Cincinnati Bengals will go to a record of 7-5 in a tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who earlier defeated the Baltimore Ravens. And for the Bengals, 4 straight wins after losing 4 in a row, and this a tough one on the road as they now look to Dallas at home next week. And the Chargers, who are hearing the boos from the crowd, dropped to 4-8. They've lost 4 straight and 7 of their last 8 games. So the final score, the Bengals 20, the Chargers 13 tonight on CBS. 60 Minutes, followed by The Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. For Rich Gannon, Marv Albert saying so long from San Diego. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47.